guys, if you have been wondering if I have been still volunteering at the conservatory, the answer is yes. This year has been incredibly busy and stressful for me, so I didn't want to give up on working in the Desert Dome, which sometimes just added to all the exhaustion and work during the week. But I didn't really record what am I doing because it just would take too much time. But I have been coming almost every week, and I was the only volunteer, so some of the heavy plants that were donated were too hard to plant or handle by only me. So finally we got another volunteer. I'm really excited that I'm gonna have some help. So Michael and I worked for the first time together, and I'm gonna show you today what projects we finished and what we are still working on. So let's take a look. So this big cactus we recently got donated. It's about 7 feet tall, pretty heavy. We also got some smaller cacti donated. So Michael and I were working on finding spots in the Desert Dome where we can plant them and maybe creating some new cacti areas. So here under the pencil tree we had a lot of open space because we used to have an Agave Americana Variegata that completely dried up. That was removed about 2 years ago, and so there is a big rock, and we thought it's going to look nice to plant some cacti around that rock. So Michael started digging the hole. I already brought a pillowcase that we're going to use to plant cactuses. You can also use towel or any kind of rag that's long enough so you can wrap it around the pokey euphorbia or cactus, and then one person can hold the top with the pillowcase like I'm doing, and one person can place the roots in the soil, and or you can alternate and stabilize the plant, straighten it out. So it's funny, here you can see dust first because we are dragging this big cactus that was donated. So it was so heavy and it was just raising a lot of dust when it was pulled. But we decided to bring it close to the rest of the saguaro cacti because we thought it's gonna fit there well. It was just so heavy even for two of us. So then I lowered the top with a pillowcase while Michael was lowering the pot. And as you can see, there was some other plants planted here in the same pot. It was a kalanchoe plant that was pretty dehydrated because unlike cactuses, they really like to get water more frequently. So we decided to save this kalanchoe plant and repot it. With a pillowcase, gently but firmly was pulling the top of the cactus where Michael was pulling the pot toward himself so we can pull the plant out. And on our surprise, it had pretty shallow roots.
Alright. Wow, look how small that is.
So Michael already prepared a hole here, and again with the pillowcase I lifted the cactus and we kind of manipulated it toward the hole and stabilized it. It took a little bit more time because it's a little bit more heavy, and we needed to make sure that it can stand on its own without support, and it worked, so we're very happy with the outcome. And so that's done. The next thing we wanted to work on is move a big Agave Americana Variegata that you can see here. I planted it about 3 years ago when I created this area, and it got too big for it. So we were thinking to pull that one out and in its place put a smaller Agave Americana Variegata that we got donated about a year ago. And it's been pretty dry and root bound because water would just run through the pot and it just kept getting dry leaves. And I was hoping to have somebody to repot this one with me because it's kind of harder to manipulate if you're the only one working with it. So, and that big one we would put here right in the middle of the desert dome where this metal post is, so it can cover the metal post and have plenty space to grow wider and taller. While Michael is digging the hole, I'm bringing the other pot with Agave Americana Variegata. So now we're pulling out the big agave. It was a little bit heavy, but not too bad, and it didn't have too big of a root system, so we were able to pull it without a problem. And I think this is going to probably be its final location, the middle of the desert dome, so we won't move it from there again. And it's just much, much harder to move them when they're getting bigger and taller. We cleaned it up a little bit from the debris and from Agave funkiana's pups that grew in with it. And so you can see here we already placed it in the ground in the middle of the desert dome. We're just straightening the plant and adding some soil. Now I'm just cleaning debris from and weeds from the area where we pulled the big agave, and then this smaller agave that's in a pot with pups, we're gonna have to clean up before planting it. There was a lot of dead leaves and debris, so Michael and I first went all around the pot and just pulled all those dead leaves, cut them, and since this is a plastic pot and the plant was root bound and really difficult to pull out, we decided it's going to be the best to just break the pot and cut the pieces. So this took us quite a while to do because leaves are very fibery, agave leaves, so they're hard to cut too. We don't have the best equipment there, and we finally freed the pot and then separated some of the pups before we put it in the ground. So here is what we did today. We are starting to create this new area here under the Euphorbia pencil tree. We planted this cactus here. Planted this huge cactus right here with the saguaro cactuses, and the convoy plant that was in the same pot. I'm going to put in a smaller pot. We also moved the big agave from here and put it here in the middle with a hope that it's going to cover this metal post thing in the middle. We moved part that we had to cut that was really overgrown and separated in 3 parts. This biggest one we put here, which I think is going to fit really nicely. And then these 2 I'm going to plant in pots. I'm starting to water because some plants are pretty dry. This middle here rarely gets watered. I usually water edges. And I'm also cleaning debris. Here is some of the debris from agaves. There was a lot of pencil tree debris that I just swept. So I'm going to go get the garbage can and clean that up. But here is a chance to show you some of the areas that I took care of. So this one here, there was nothing here. I planted this one when it was maybe that size. And look at how many baby citrus grew so beautifully. I'm so happy with it. I love these patterns in the leaves. You know, that actually whenever it unwraps the new leaf, it like has these markings from the previous leaf. It's just so beautiful. Then this area grew very nicely that Alyssa and I planted. These 2 agaves didn't look that great, but you can see it's their growing season and they woke up, they're winter growers. Look at how pretty it is. They were so much smaller when I planted. These were 2 donations. And this one I ended up later. I don't think it was in any video. That was also a donation. I had to support it by a stone because it was so tall with such small roots and fit in nicely with these colors in this area. Then we did this area here. I planted this euphorbia that used to be in one of the pots over there by the window, and I just was afraid that in winter time it's going to get too cold close to the window, so I think it's going to be a little more protected here in the middle. Well, listen, I also planted these agaves. As you can see, there's a lot of cleaning up that needs to be done. It's been, like I said, so busy that I haven't been able to do as many things as I want to here. So I'm gonna go finish up stuff for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time.